Hey everyone! Welcome to The Young and the Restless. I'm Jane, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love Young and the Restless, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. The Young and the Restless recap for Tuesday, July 15th, reveals that Lily Winters will see Damian Cane's dead body after Cane Ashby invites Chancellor to be his private investigator in this case. First, on Tuesday's episode of YNR, Lily Winters will argue with Amanda Sinclair, who will question Cane's willingness to move on. Amanda will advise that she contact Cane on Lily's behalf, but she will also make it clear that Cane is willing to go to any length to reclaim the woman he loves. Meanwhile, Phyllis Summers will try to get Damian some medical attention, but Cane will swear he has already left and there is no doctor on the grounds. Phyllis will become suspicious that Cane is responsible for the attack, but he will tell the complete tale and maintain his innocence. Cane will mistake himself for the intended victim because the perpetrator threw the dagger from a distance. Devin Winters and Abby Winters will be perplexed as Cane and Phyllis return to the train car in search of Chance and Amanda. After Cane leads Chance away, Abby and Devin will question Phyllis about what she knows. Phyllis will become overwhelmed by the questions and leave, giving her the opportunity to run into Nick Newman right outside the maze. Nick will be eager to get back to Sharon Newman, so Phyllis will inquire about what he saw, suspecting that he knows more than he admits. However, Nick will eventually ask Phyllis whether she is okay and question if this is related to his previous Cane warning. Phyllis will confess it's worse and indicate that it's a question of life or death. Devin and Abby will also catch up with Amanda and Lily, and they will discuss Cane's search for Chance and Amanda. Since Cane recently mentioned a lethal threat against him, there will be suspicions that anything happened in connection with it. Back with Cane, he will examine Damian's body and discover that the antique knife from his collection has been gone. The bourbon bottle and glasses they were drinking from before will likewise be gone. Cane will know that someone has destroyed evidence and will be certain that he was the intended victim of this attack. After Cane updates Chance on how everything went, Chance plans to speak with Phyllis and get her side of the story. Chance will interrogate Cane, but he will eventually appear to believe that the criminal was targeting Cane rather than Damian. Although Chance intends to involve the local authorities, Cane will thwart his plans. Chance will object because he requires forensics and a coroner, but Cane will explain that the most he can provide is a walk-in freezer. Cane will want to keep the body there while Chance investigates on his own for the time being, and he will be willing to pay Chance $500,000 to act as his private investigator. When Lily searches for Damian and discovers Phyllis with Nick, Phyllis appears to be about to deliver some bad news. There will be a pause when Carter and another staff member assist in moving Damian's body with a sheet over it. Cane will apologize to Lily before she pulls the sheet and discovers Damian's body. Lily will be shocked to see Damian dead, so she will gasp and cover her mouth with her palm. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that Lily will demand answers soon, so stay tuned. Lily stood stopped in the doorway, her breath caught in her throat, her gaze fixed on the scene before her. The room's poor light formed deep shadows, but the figure laying still on the floor was easily identified as Damian. His usually sharp, calculating eyes were now vacant, looking blankly at the ceiling, and his body was unusually still. The air was thick with the metallic odor of blood, and Lily's stomach twisted as she took an unintentional step back, her mind unable to grasp what she was seeing. Damian had been a constant presence in her life, a guy who had always seemed untouchable, his plots and manipulations winding through their lives like an unbreakable web. And now he was lifeless, his reign of dominance having abruptly ended. Her hands trembled as she put them on her mouth, her mind racing. Who had done it? Why? What did that mean for her, and for the others who were caught up in Damian's perilous games? The questions raced through her thoughts, but no answers came, only a rising sense of dread that this was far from done. Just when she was about to turn and escape, looking for someone who could help, a smooth and deliberate voice pierced the silence, sending a new surge of anxiety through her. Quite the sight, isn't it? Cane strode into view, his countenance enigmatic as he looked from Damian's body to Lily. She hadn't even heard him approach, and the fact that he had been observing her reaction made her skin crawl. Cane had always been a wild card, his allegiances fluctuating like the wind, and she couldn't determine if he was a threat or an unusual ally. He tilted his head, staring at her with such intensity that she wanted to pull away. "I suppose you're wondering what happens next," he said, approaching closer, his shiny shoes clicking on the wooden floor. Lily forced herself to maintain her ground, despite every instinct telling her to escape. She asked, scarcely audible, "Did you do this?" Cane's lips twisted into a thin smile, but there was no warmth behind it. "Does it matter?" he responded, his tone light and even amused. "What's important is what you do now, Lily. You saw something you weren't supposed to see. That puts you in a delicate position." Her pulse raced in her ears as the meaning of his words became clear. Was he threatening her? Offering her a way out? She couldn't tell, and the unknown was scarier than any direct threat. Before she could react, Cane went into his jacket and drew out a sleek black envelope, presenting it to her. "I have a proposition for you," he added, his voice lowering to a conspiratorial whisper. $500,000. Cash. All yours in exchange for a small favor. Lily's breath tightened. $500,000 was life-changing money, enough to leave and start over somewhere far away from it all. But, at what cost? She looked at the envelope suspiciously, her mind racing. "What kind of favor?" she inquired, her voice firmer than her emotions. Cane's smile grew wider, but his eyes remained icy. "It's actually rather simple. You walk away. You forget what happened here tonight. You allow certain occurrences to unfold without interference." She stared at him, the parts gradually coming into place. This wasn't only about Damian's death, it was about something bigger, something she had stumbled into by chance. Cane was not only promising her money, he was purchasing her silence and acquiescence. The weight of that realization rested hard on her shoulders. For a long time, she said nothing, her gaze shifting between Cane and Damian's body. The money was more than alluring, it was an escape. But could she live with herself if she accepted it? What if she walked away and let whoever did this go free? Fear and greed were at odds with her conscience, creating a moral quandary. Cane observed her silently, his patience disconcerting. He knew exactly what he was delivering and what buttons to press. And this made him more deadly than ever. Finally, Lily stretched out and brushed the envelope. She could feel Cane's pleasure emanating from him as she accepted it, but she did not open it. "Not yet. I need time to think," she added, her tone stronger. Cane's smile was unwavering, but something flickered in his eyes. Annoyance? Amusement? "Of course," he replied calmly. "Take as much time as you need. But keep in mind that opportunities like these do not come around very often." He turned and walked away, leaving her to face Damian's body and the weight of her decision. As the door clicked shut behind him, Lily collapsed to the floor, clutching the letter tightly. The room was silent save for her own frantic breathing. She had no notion what to do next and who to trust. But one thing was certain, her life would never be the same after tonight. The money could buy her freedom, but for what price? And what happens if she refuses? Will Cane let her walk away, or is she already in too deep? Her mind was filled with questions, but there were no answers for the time being. Only the frightening realization that whatever decision she made would change everything. Lily couldn't tell whether it had been hours or minutes. The envelope seemed like it was burning a hole in her hands, and its weight was intolerable. She reflected on all the times Damian had exploited her, all the times she had been a pawn in someone else's game. Was there any difference? Accepting the money would make her complicit, while refusing would make her a target. There was no right decision, simply survival. She finally opened the packet, her hands trembling. Inside was a single slip of paper with a bank account number and the words, "The first installment. The remainder will be completed." No instructions, no additional information. Simply a transaction, cold and indifferent. Lily exhaled shakily, her mind made up. She had no idea what would happen next, but she did know one thing: she was done playing by other people's rules. If she was going to survive, she needed to start making her own decisions. And perhaps, just maybe, she'd use Cane's game against him. She stood up, her determination restored, and slipped the envelope into her pocket. The room felt different now, and the shadows were less oppressive. Damian's body remained as a cruel reminder of the risks, but Lily refused to be paralyzed by dread. She had a decision to make, and for the first time in a long time, she felt in charge of her own destiny. Whatever occurred next, she'd take it on her own terms. Even if it meant playing with fire.